I come from a biracial household. My mom is a second-generation American. My dad is a multi-generation American going all the way back to the Mayflower. And so my parents are always like acutely aware of what it meant for our family to kind of exist in this liminal space between different cultures, a very cross-sectional experience. And so growing up with that, I was always constantly drawn back to these notions of our shared human experience and also how we differ from person to person and within different communities around the world. And that's really what drew me into looking at things through an anthropological lens. My name is Tarah Frost. My project is Keep It Moving, Vendedores, Ambulantes, Space Rights, and Social Welfare in San Jose, Costa Rica. The people that I've been working with are primarily unlicensed street vendors and also licensed shop owners in the downtown area of San Jose, Costa Rica. So specifically what I'm looking at is this interplay relationship between the shop owners and the street vendors and the citizens that participate in commerce with both of them equally and in the same space. And so that's primarily what I've been looking at, is what are the conversations around that? Also, what are the ways in which these different groups use language to conduct their business and to associate with each other in this very shared and contentious area? Well, my favorite part about having this experience is that simply through talking to the vendors on both sides of this discussion and the citizens that were participating in both the black market and the normal market, in this space, I was able to open up a greater dialogue of the rights of these street markets, the rights of these street vendors. More specifically, the street vendors are assumed to be undocumented citizens from Nicaragua. I found that not to be the case every time. And oftentimes, the conversation between their rights to what Costa Ricans consider human access or human rights access to things such as healthcare, education, food in their tummies, and roofs over their heads was collapsed with this idea of their actual use of space. So this notion of them being unlicensed street vendors and this idea of them being undocumented citizens had been really collapsed into this multi-layered identity that was being treated as though they are on the edges of the citizenry. And at the same time, the Costa Ricans were saying, but they should have access to all these basic human services that we believe is a human right. So I think that through having those conversations, it kind of allowed people to self-reflect and say, well, this doesn't seem to make sense. And I'm saying they shouldn't access these things because they're not a citizen. And they're problematic because they're operating in this space and they shouldn't be in this space. But at the same time, because they are in this space, they have a right to access these services and to kind of have a self-reflection on what are you really saying to your community when you're not only having these discourses, but then participating in the continuance of these black markets. So you're literally paying into a system that you're trying to shut down at the same time. The advice that I would give to future students in this program would be to definitely collect just everything that you can while you're in the field. It's going to narrow down, your project may change, and that's okay. In fact, that's the best part of this experience, is understanding how research is not a black and white process. It's not A plus B equals C. Oftentimes you get Z and you just have to work with it.